go. Boom. So to start this podcast, episode 3, we realized about 6 minutes in the video wasn't recording. So the gist of it is we were talking about how we took a lot of time off for the summer in the sense of not going so hard in what we do for our work, our coaching, and stuff like that, to just solely focus on family time as we were able to walk out of our brick and mortar stuff and just take a step back from our online businesses and really enjoy our summer, because our daughter was going into first grade, and like kindergarten is like the last time that your child actually gets to be little.
Didn't we see like a stat or something about that like really put us, but specifically you, in our feels about like,
it was just videos. People recorded they were like recording their kids on the beach, and it was like kindergarten is. And now I'm thinking back, like I don't know if it was like, because our daughter, being two people that are just slightly above average height for a male, and then she's above average height for a female, our daughter is always in the higher percentile of growth. So watching the videos, like I couldn't tell if the people in the video, when it said like kindergarten is the last year they're little, was it the kid going into kindergarten or like the summer after kindergarten? But I took it as summer after kindergarten because that was this position we were in.
And she is, oh man, so brilliant.
I'm telling you, I don't even see her little anymore.
She's so witty. She can keep up with our inside jokes. Yeah, like we've reached definitely that next level, and we were in our feels about it. So that was another huge factor as to why we took the last 2 weeks of summer to really just focus on doing what we wanted, like specifically what she wanted, and filling her cup and pouring into her. Because we only get one shot at her childhood, one shot at like the summer before she goes into first grade, and she's going to be a whole different kid by next summer and through this whole school year, especially with the school she's in, where like it's like rapid growth, man, because they just pour into her. So anyway, now what we really want to talk about is like the transition of like going from that.
How do you get back into the swing of things?
Yeah.
So mine, it's crazy because I feel like every time I go in that funk or I just take a step back, my immediate way to be back is like giving to people, because the whole purpose of what we do isn't about the money, it's about the mission. But you also need money to have the mission, or like raise the money for the mission, or just have a job security for the mission. And obviously our mission is just to help as many people as possible, guide people, whether that's just what we do in our realm of philanthropy or like what we charge for coaching.
I actually would like to throw something in there real quick if I can, because this is something that like I've worked on a lot. So me and Travis are very different in every single way, and you will find out the more you listen to these episodes how polar opposite we are. But one of the things that we're very opposite in is like, I want to word this correctly, but like our money views, the overcoming we have to do as far as when it comes to like money and income and stuff. And I had a lot of money blocks that I had to work on, and I'm like still actively working on, despite like having the money and the resources. But one of those things that I really, in the beginning of my entrepreneur journey, like focused so hard on and was so intentional about finding mentors that proved to me, and the way they viewed the world was the same, was that the more money you have, the more good you can do in the world. Because as a lot of people, I grew up like believing, rich people are the ones like killing the ozone layer and they're creating all this bad in the world, and like rich people are bad and blah, 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 all these like limiting beliefs. But at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to be rich, and there was such a disconnect in that mindset, because you can't become rich and wealthy and like have the freedom and all these things when you think that creates evil. And at the end of the day, that's just what I was like shown or believed growing up, instead of now as an adult, I actively had to go out of my way to find mentors that specifically believed that the more money that you have, actually Chris Harder, he like words it perfectly. And he says, when good people make great money, they do great things in the world. And like, that's why he believes in making good people richer, because they can create more goodness in the world. And it really took that perspective for me to be able to even go for quote unquote being rich, because I don't want to be somebody that's looked at as like a negative thing, or any of the, I couldn't look at it that way. So anyway, all of that to say, he is so quick to give away, and that's what fills his cup, and like helping other people with money, because we have a lot of money to be able to do those things. And it just took a lot of like mental undoing and redoing for me to get to a place to where I was able to like see it that way as well. My whole life, I want to give everything I have away, of course. Like I'm here to like change the world and be better, but it did take a lot of like those money beliefs that I had, and like undoing and really seeing that like the more money we do make, the more good we can do in the world. And now we get to actually be a product of that and not just talk the talk but walk the walk, because now we have made a lot of money and we are able to give back a lot more than most other people. And Travis really helps me build that muscle, because if we're being completely honest, as much as I want to help everybody, I wouldn't do it right now in the way that he, like, I'm just not forward about making that decision, because I'm like, we can actually just buy more coaching or this or that, or like,
right.
Invest it more in ourselves. But at the end of the day, logically, I do understand the value of the more you give, the more you receive. And the whole premise of us making more and building these businesses is because we want to be able to give back in a great way. And, however much you give back when you have $100 in your pocket is going to also be equivalent to like kind of the ratio you'll give back when you have $1 million in your pocket. So like building the muscle and all
it's not
different.
about expecting. It's because I even just in the lives that I do, or like we just did a big school donation for families, and there was plenty of people that were asking to give money, and it's one of those things where I don't know how to accept people's money, where they're like, oh, how much, is TikTok paying you, or whatever platform we were on. I was like, 0. The answer was 0, no matter like what my following is. I mean, I have a pretty decent following, but I've never monetized how to accrue money on that platform.
We're going to change that, but we haven't.
It was not in the goal. It was not, it was very similar to what you said. Like, if you're spending a lot of time donating, you're not spending a lot of time focusing on like, oh, I can buy more coaching and this and that. And like, so to go back, why donating kind of kicks it into gear for me is because it does come at a cost, whether it's your time, which is absolutely your most valuable asset, or B, money. You're going to use both by donating in some realm. And so knowing the fact that I get the satisfaction of helping people that are in need, it's coming at a cost. And if I'm costing myself something, then at some point the seesaw tilts the other way, where it goes, okay, now I need to do something to gain more money, so then I can do even more for when the seesaw starts to go back up to the other side. So for me, it's absolutely giving back and donating and all that stuff for how I can get reboot back.
Yeah, that's a big part of it for sure. I wouldn't say that specifically on my list, but what's crazy about like me, and I think a lot of people will relate, is like I very much, and I'm really working on this, but I very much am affected by the people around me, the energy around me, the energy in the household, the energy where I'm working, or whatever. So for me, I find such value in like, if giving back is the thing that gets you back in the energy of creation and building, and like I like the grind, I like the build, I like the, it reminds me of like my athletic days, like the high energy, like let's go, another round, like yeah, you're tired, but let's run another lap anyway, because the harder we push ourselves, the better we're going to do. Like I've always been the one on my team to hype everybody up to like go that extra mile. Even I remember back in 8th grade, this is taking it way back, but I'm almost 6 feet tall. I've always been one of the biggest people on every team I've ever been on. So like realistically, I shouldn't be the first one down the court. And I was always the benchmark of, Tatiana better not beat you guys. As guards, she better not beat you down the court. We used to have, I remember in 8th grade for tryouts, and I was a captain this year, by the way. We started every single practice running 10 laps around the gym, and the benchmark was, I better not beat anybody in that gym, because I'm the biggest out there. Why am I beating you guys? But I had the most heart. I was going to get around my at the end of the day, like when it hit round or lap 8, I can kick it into another gear when most people can't, because I just have that in me. So I just loved being the benchmark of the biggest girl on the court better not beat you guys for 10 laps. And like I beat most of them running our 10 laps.
I would say that's a crazy benchmark though, because like in middle school and high school, you haven't peaked as far as like your size go. But even if somebody is 6 foot in high school, whether it's male or female, let's just focus on the male, right? your guards in high school are typically 2 to 3 inches shorter than that. So like if you transition that to a male sport, it's not uncommon that the 6-footer would beat the people that are 5'7" or something, 5'8", because then like 6 foot trying to get to the NBA, good luck. You're nowadays in the NBA, like your point guards are 6'4". So
yeah, that's actually very true.
It's crazy the benchmark
and also
that
my legs
set. That your legs are longer. So if you start getting into full sling stride, like you're going to be lapping people.
But I think it was a stamina thing, and I think that maybe that's a difference between men and women, because at the end of the day, like guards centers and power forwards and stuff, like as far as stamina goes, they should not have more stamina than the little guards, or at least that's like how I grew up. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that might not be right. I don't know. I just know that like.
Well, so also you were born and raised in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I was born in the North, raised in the South. So like I'm from Florida. So there was only ever in shape like athletes of all size. So like yeah, I was on the team in high school at like 5'7" in my freshman year before I grew up, like sprouted a little bit. But there were 6'1" people playing center, 6'3" people playing center on the team. They weren't lapping me, but they were definitely beating people that were shorter.
I feel like it's so different.
We're all athletic. Like we're not tied to. I can't go outdoors at any point in time of the year, like the Northeast or something like that. It's like you're just playing sports all year round in the South.
Yeah. Dang, now that I'm thinking about it, that probably has a lot to do with it. All I know is it was like a benchmark that like if I was beating you for your 10 laps, like there was a problem, because like I was way more out of shape, but at the end of the day I had more heart and I could just kick it into that gear when other people were crumbling. Like there were so many times where I don't even know why I got into this, I don't remember now, but like where I was like puking and then I would still continue my laps. Like I just have that thing in me that like can't be taught. Dang, I was going somewhere with that had to do with.
I was gonna ask how you tie that in.
I don't remember, but I'm glad we're here. Because it matters to me that you are in build mode and grind mode and like business mode and ready to go, because it's really, really hard for me to be able to kick it into that next gear and to be on that train if nobody else in my immediate environment.
You're saying it's easier for you?
I need you to be in build mode.
What are you saying that's easier?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I feed off of other people's vibes. When you're like, let's go, let's kick it into that next gear, let's do the thing.
Well, I'm asking because like when you're playing sports growing up, it's like you didn't need that though.
I think being on the team is that. I was always in that environment. If you're on the basketball court or
there's always
practice
slackers
whatever,
on every team though. Always.
Yeah.
There's always people that coasted.
Oh, of course. But we're all in an environment where, like, the goal is the goal. The goal is to play basketball. The goal is to learn. The goal is, like, that is what it was. There was nobody doing cartwheels on the sidelines and, like, just not paying attention because, you know what I mean? We were all going for it.
Well, you know this better than anybody else. Maybe not one of my siblings particularly, but my ability, I would say one of my top 2 greatest strength, and I just tear and I won't get into the other one, but is the art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, you're so good at it.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
If I don't want to care in the moment, you're not going to convince me to care. So in the realm of like, how do I put the bootstraps on and get back into work mode and stuff like that, and this is how she said we're so far opposites, is I don't need to see somebody doing something productive around me. It's going to hit a point inside of me where it's just like, okay, I got to do something.
Yeah, I can literally just be like,
she can literally say be painting her fingernails, and I'm just going to pull the camera out right next to her and start going. But
it's such a superpower.
Is she going to do that? No, because it's not in her realm. But the art of not caring when I don't want to,
and just being able to do
and do what I'm doing. I could know I have to do something, but if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not chilled, unhappy, or whatever doing something else. I'm like equally as ecstatic doing something else that I don't necessarily need to be doing, but I want to be doing it because it's solving something else for me. It's creating that space of enjoyment for me and happiness for me that's going to make me do what I need to do better. Yeah. Because it's igniting the energy and the flow inside to create whatever I need to create as a better masterpiece than just I'm going to throw some paint on a canvas.
Yeah. You're really good at just producing regardless of how you're feeling, what's going on around you, who's doing what, XYZ, whereas that is very much where I'm opposite. Like, I can't be in a room full of, I mean, this is like extreme, but like, I can't be, if everybody around me is just dilly-dallying, I have to remove myself in order to put myself in an energy that like fuels my power. I can't just be that powerful version of me necessarily around a bunch of dilly-dalliers. And I love that. That's
also why you go to the meetings. It's like she'll go to meetings like without me, because there are just days that like I just don't feel like being hardcore in that mode. And that's the other thing too, like, especially if it's something techy or on the computer, or I'm writing, or I'm typing, or I'm planning something. I don't have to be this super serious hardcore. Like, I'll easily just be like, pull out my phone, look at the calendar, and I'll go to do something, and then at the same time I'm like, I need to make something to eat. And like, it's just lackadaisy for me. However, when it becomes time for me to like get in the mode of something that has to get done when I don't really want to do it, just leave me alone. Like, just leave me alone. I don't carry aggression about it, but there's an aura around me where it's like, you can feel, don't interrupt him,
don't fuck with him,
don't mess with me. Like, it's not that I'm unhappy or I'm angry, or I would be either of those if you interrupted me.
It's a head down, grind it out.
It's a head down, grind it out, and if you know, you know. Like, it's just, but just leave me alone. And because I'm I'm locked in. It doesn't matter if that's organizing something around the house, typing up a paper, creating a blog, fixing something on the back end of the websites, fixing an issue for a client. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just, if you're around me enough, you know the zone when you see the zone, and just don't interrupt me.
Yeah. So as far as getting back on the train of like building the business and really getting into it, and coaching and momentum and all of that stuff, for me, it takes a lot more intention, because I can't just like flip it on like a switch like Travis can. So for me, it takes going to the networking meetings. I have to show up to my live coaching calls. I have to constantly be in conversation with people who are also building, and I feed off of other people. I'm just that type of human being. I like to externally process things, so I have to have those higher level conversations. I have to get back into our routines. I had like kind of a really good regimen that I felt good about before stepping away from the card shop, because I had the space to do it because I was home alone all day doing it. But now with like Travis being home and us really focusing on the summer and our daughter, like, we got out of my routines that were important for me to really get my day going. And like the certain standards that I set when he wasn't here, that I was able to like get in grind mode and feel my best and pull out the most powerful version of me. So routines are really important for me. And that's funny saying, because I'm actually not a routine oriented person at all. I hate routines, but there are certain things that I know I have to do every morning in order to get my brain going, such as...
What do you think like the top 3 things for you are?
Mindset every single day. I will never skip it. I need to listen to some type of mindset podcast, some type of... I like to listen into conversations that I don't have to be a part of, but that still get my brain going. I would say that's 100% like number 1 on my list to get me going. I have to listen to other people talk about mindset or perspectives just to get my wheels turning that way, and then I can kind of take it from there, because I'm really good at that stuff. I would say that's the number 1 thing in my routine, and if I'm not listening to mindset every day, I am a completely different person, because I almost feel like I haven't unlocked that part of my brain for the day. Or I have to go out of my way to unlock that and get those certain wheels turning.
I would say you journal every day.
I journal every day.
That would be a second one.
Yeah, which I think ties into it, because I journal about mindset, I journal about my gratitudes. That's another thing. I actively, if I'm not writing my gratitudes, I have to actively think about them, speak them. And I try to not just say like, I'm grateful for my daughter, I'm grateful for Travis, like those are a given. Me and God know that, but like, I'm grateful for the leaves outside that are creating oxygen, or I'm grateful for like every blade of grass out there, like the things people don't think about, because to me, grass or like the little pieces of sand, it's not just about the grass or the sand. To me, that means abundance. They're never ending. There's so many. And you know what I mean? If I can be grateful for those little tiny things, then that makes me grateful for the rest of the abundance in the world. And I just love feeling abundant. That's like my number one thing I love to tap into. So yeah, journaling, mindset. I need to get a little better at this again, but health, working out, moving my body, hitting different metrics as well. Even like I love, actually here's probably the best answer. I think the best way to get me to feel good about anything, I set little challenges for myself. So when it was time for me to get healthy again, like I set a 30-day no drinking challenge, and now 2.5 years drinking alcohol. Yeah, I have to drink stuff, water and everything. But like, okay, I needed to get off the plateau. I needed to really shake it up. 30 days, no drinking, like let's do it. And then that's how I like put my head down and grind it out. So for 30 days, I made the better health choice, including not drinking. And then at the end of that, I felt so good about it. Instead of it just being a challenge, it became a part of my lifestyle. And I do that in a lot of different ways. I'll have like a 30-day.
Over 2 years, right?
Yeah. 2.5, I believe we're at now. And just because it feels so good to not drink, and so much good came out of that, it's like, why would I ever go back? So now, with us really getting back on the train, I'll do a 30-day go live challenge, or a 30-day post twice a day for 30-day challenge, just to really like set myself a little small sprint, but it actually equates to something that I need to include in my everyday life beyond those 30 days. But just setting aside like that challenge for myself of like a sprint, and it's a clear, tangible what I'm doing every day and what the outcome's going to be, I'll sprint through it, and then it becomes a habit, and now it's just a part of my routine. And that's what like really gets me back on the ball. I'd say I've set short challenges for myself always, and it's now really fun being in like this side of the business world where challenges are how a lot of business owners get people like in their wheelhouse. And I've been doing that like my entire life by myself, like unknowingly. So little challenges, short sprints, short like go all in, nothing will distract you, head down, that'll get me going. And then once I'm beyond that, I'm just going to keep continuing it, because we've already built that muscle. The sprint is to build the muscle.
So it actually ties, so then that's naturally, like, it's not very often that we'll get off the rocker out of routine, because like again, this was like the first summer I've ever had to be able to have off.
And that was the goal all along.
Since I was 19, because I grew up like real fast with things that, you know, we've talked about in the past on here. But it's ironic that at the end of the summer, right at the beginning of our daughter starting school, like two key things happened. Was like we needed to do and go through some stuff, and that's what kicked off the donation stuff that we had, or the school supply stuff that we bought for everybody, which then hit my cup. And then the second, like right after that, Alex Hormozi launched his book launch and did the 3-day live. So it's like both of our things just happened at the same time to like help us get back on the horse, but it was like accidentally aligned. Like, was it accidentally aligned? You know what I mean? It just that we weren't one step behind each other at that point. It was just two trains
merged together at the right time.
Yeah. They didn't crash, they just merged.
Yeah, because that's another thing. I love mentors. I love listening to people talk. I love listening to people teach. If you leave it to me, I'll learn all day, and that's one of my issues. I need to like stop learning sometimes and start doing, because I just love taking in information, and I love peering into other people's brains. So luckily, we didn't know what to expect for that book launch. Nobody knew what to expect. He kept so much behind the scenes, and we just knew it was going to be some type of live event that was going to be very valuable. But that filled my cup so much. And then especially because he ended up doing it, was it 2 or 3 days? Three. It went from 1 day to 3 days, so I got to tap in.
Which on the third day he went live for, I want to say it was,
I think it was all day, 7-8 hours.
I think he started.
So he had the timer.
It was at least 12 hours, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I think he went to midnight.
The night before.
Either Eastern time or Pacific time.
Pacific time.
And it was also his birthday though. Like that's what was crazy. So
that whole event, I'm so happy that happened the way it did. It filled my cup. It really got my brain
absolutely
going.
Crushed the non-fiction single sales record, which on day 1 he broke, and the Guinness Book of Records came out. And
I just got the chills.
Yeah.
It's cool too. That reminds me of like Michael Jordan. Like I love and as a basketball player, we all like love him. You understand his legacy, and not necessarily to compare the two, but like I didn't get to watch him in his prime. I didn't get to watch Flu Game when it was live on TV. I just analyzed it afterwards and watched it 100,000 times. But like I got to watch this event live, not even knowing that it was gonna like go down in history. There's so many nuggets I got from it. I mean, the way that filled my cup, you don't even know. I needed it so bad because like I just was feeling like in a lull. It was like, how do you get from family time, like those are two polar opposite sides of me, like the mom side of me and then the business side of me, and it's like, how do you kickstart that? Well, that event freaking did it, and that totally filled my cup, and at the same time you were filling your
and we'll have
cup.
exciting news to come later about the event because we gained a surprise for some of you in the event.
A lot of you.
Actually, yeah, a lot of you. Almost 199 of you.
Needless to say, we bought 200 books. And there were a lot of crazy bonuses and super excited. So so to bring that back around, those are things that like really get me going, and I'm so glad that it was unplanned, but the Alex Hormozi, everything about the book launch, and we were able to tap in for a decent amount of it. Was awesome, and I think we get all the replays, and just to watch him coach live and to see his brain work in real time, analyzing businesses.
Honestly, the thing about coaching live, it was so like improv to the point where normally when you're on like a podcast or a video cast or something, like whoever's hosting will have something lined up for the calls to come in, and the audio is crisp. Like when they go, we're going to take a call. Like, he literally took a business cell phone out, had people waiting, and the call came through, and he was just on speakerphone. So, like, it's not really a knock, but it was annoying that, like, sometimes you just couldn't really understand the question they were asking because it was coming through on a speakerphone on a national broadcast where his microphone is crisp. So it just didn't come through all the way. Repeating the question would have been beneficial, but
yes. But also,
there was only a couple calls where you couldn't really understand.
Yeah, and 100% that, yes. But also on the opposite side, because this is how my brain works, I think it's also so cool that somebody of his caliber took calls live and didn't focus on the good or bad quality of it. He was just showing you that, like that almost gives us permission.
I'm saying I'm happy that it was so improv.
Yeah.
Because most people plan for those. He didn't plan for it.
Right.
He's like, oh damn, I just shattered the 24-hour book sale launch.
And then he's like, we're just gonna get it done, no matter how. You know, even like I had a coach in the past that like completely fumbled the bag and whatever. We won't get into that. But like what I learned from her every time she fumbled this bag, which was like really hard, but I didn't hate her for it, and it reminded me that, like, if I ever fumble, if I'm ever XYZ, people aren't going to hate me for it. They're going to understand because I understood the whole time. So, like, even with something like this, like, this now almost gives us permission. If we have to, like, impromptu, whatever, make something happen, but, like, the quality's not going to be that great, we just know we can repeat the question. And, like, people aren't going to hate us for not having this high production, you know, whatever.
Well, it's like people online or on social media, like, they want to get their life out there, even if it's just for their kids in the future or to make them benefit, like their self, like, hey, I'm trying to get out of social anxiety. It's one of those things where everybody feels like it has to be perfect to be uploaded. And and he just basically proved it did. So
yeah, and I love like having that permission. Although you can give it to yourself, but I like to see people that I admire.
People of power and money do it. So
yeah, and like he could do it, then what the heck are we putting all this pressure on us to have everything perfect? Like, just get it done.
That's what everybody compares their life to. You know, that was a huge reason why Instagram for a long time took away the like counter.
Yeah.
You know, it was largely for women, and you know, because like they were getting a certain way about their stuff isn't getting likes, but Kylie Jenner's getting millions of likes, and it's just like, why does everybody want to? It's one thing to want to be like somebody successful. It's another to try to be a clone. And I think the problem is everybody try to be a clone, and it's like you need to get lip fillers and butt lifts and like all this stuff because that's how it is for these celebrities. And it's like when you zoom out, the only people that care are the people that don't have things.
Yeah.
The people that have things, they're also doing it, but they're going to pay the price in 30 years. Like, none of these people are going to look good in their 60s with these lip fillers, Botox, butt injections. Like, it's just not going to turn out good.
That reminds me, I'm adding one of my life rules right now. But like, perfection isn't required.
No.
And I feel like that's a big thing that people forget in business and life and this and that, whatever. But like, nobody wants you to show up perfect. It's unattainable. It's not relatable. It's not admirable.
Well, that's why I think there was a huge wave of influencers, coaches, and stuff like that came out that got wildly popular, and like for a good reason. That show that.
Yeah.
They'll show up to their interview in sweats or whatever. Like,
that's who I follow.
Like look at it's like the Adam Sandler thing. Adam Sandler's been dressing like that for years, and it just now gets out to like how quote unquote cool it is. So people are just like,
because it's just cool to
he
be
doesn't
yourself.
care. Yeah, he doesn't care what you think. Like, he's Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
So if your name is Donovan Smith, just go be Donovan Smith. If your name is Jessica Williams, go be Jessica Williams.
And like, be the best Jessica Williams that ever Jessica Williams.
Right.
Like, that's your only.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's easy for me to say, because again, my art of not giving a shit is empowering.
And I was going to say, it's a muscle that I've had to build. I have to constantly remind myself of these things. Not that I want to be perfect, and I always want to be the better version of myself. That's never going to change. But like, I, for many, many, many years, had to remind myself that like, showing up perfect isn't relatable. It's fake. It's not even who I was. I wasn't translating the same, because it was like this mask of me rather than like the real me. And it's funny how when I started like peeling back the curtains and showing the imperfections and showing how we're getting through things rather than teaching about them afterwards, I feel like that's when people really were able to connect. And it's funny looking back, because those are the people I always search for. Right. I don't want the people who are so polished and unattainable, and they've been living their dream life for 30 years now. Like, they're so set in it. Like, I want to know the people who are going through shit and getting their butts kicked right now. And instead of teaching me about it later, they're showing me how they're getting their butt kicked right now. But at the end of the day, they're still trying. They're still showing up. They're still doing the thing, even with baby puke on their shirt, you know? So, again, it's the permission of being able to show up that way by knowing that that's what I want to see. And if I want to see that, so does other people. Whoever's meant to see that is going to see that. Because if I'm part of that market, that means there's more people part of that market as well.
So, how would that lead into the next segue of what we're going to talk about, would you say? Because I know they don't know. We know what we want to talk about, right? So I asked that when they're in the dark.
So the next thing, are you talking about the next episode?
Yeah. Because
what I really want to get into, and even my content's going to be revolved around this more, are I set these life rules for myself, and it's like these set of standards, or this lens that I filter decisions through, the things I believe, and just having a list of those things on the forefront. Things that like I've had to constantly remind myself of my whole life, but now I'm like kind of more ingrained in them. But I feel like that set of rules that I keep adding to, you saw I just added that in real time to the notes in my phone, but I believe the life rules that anybody lives by, the rules and standards they set on themselves, are going to depict the life that you have. And not showing up perfectly is a part of those standards, because if I'm constantly trying to show up perfectly, I'm not actually going to produce or put out anything. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to hit who it's supposed to hit. And it's not going to actually end up helping anybody. So I think
do's and don'ts.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The do's and don'ts, the filter that I filter everything through. And it's going to be different for everybody, because we're all supposed to live a different life. But in order to really be intentional, I'm really big on intention. So, and I don't like to go with the flow. I don't believe in that. So those life rules that I live by help me live a life that's intentional with where we actually want to go. So I would say that's how that would segue, because it's important that not being perfect is one of the standards that I live by. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and stew in my perfectionism forever, and I'm never actually going to put out something that's going to help change the people that it's meant to change or help. So I'd say that is my life rules are going to be, I need to organize them a little bit, because they're just like in my phone, and we probably need to come up with a set for you. I think we have a loose idea, but we don't have them again, we're different in that way. You don't have to have them.
I don't have to have them.
And
it's
I
just
do.
One day I can have 0, and the next day I have 10, and one day I can have 4, and the next day I have 8. Like, it just...
Yeah. So the life rules and standards and the way I go about things, how I look at things, what I'm willing to accept, not willing to accept, I think that completely depicts everything that you attract in life, everything you can create in life, and those are really important to me. So
we'll have to have our do's and don'ts.
We'll have to have our do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts for ya.
Well, this is 3?
This is episode 3, yeah. So I guess that's what it looks like to get back. We're getting back into it. Not that it ever was gone, but just focusing more heavily on this because now our daughter is at school and we have the time to build the things we want to build. And I'm really excited for that. I kind of want to record our next episode right now.
We'll have to figure out an intro. We'll try to have an intro by episode 5 for sure.
Okay, but we do have an outro if you'd like to close us down.
As always, it's always peace up,
A-Town down. I can't deal with it.
Peace.